All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about one of the absolute cornerstones of Western literature, Aeschylus's incredible trilogy, the Oresteia. Now, this isn't just a soap opera about some cursed family. No, this is the story of how the very idea of justice was born.
You've got to understand, at the heart of this ancient world, there's this one law, and it's absolute, it's primal, it is terrifyingly simple, an eye for an eye. This single, unbending rule is the engine that's driving this whole horrific cycle of violence.
And right there, that's the big question Aeschylus is forcing us to stare down. At what point does our quest for justice just become a prettier word for good old-fashioned revenge? And if that's the case, how does the killing ever stop?
Now, for the people in our story, this isn't some new problem. They are literally born into a legacy of bloodshed. The house of Atreus is cursed, and it seems like every single generation is doomed to pay for old crimes by committing brand new ones. Blood demands blood. And man, what a brutal family history. It all kicks off with a grandfather's just horrific crime, and that act poisons the entire family tree. It leads our guy, King Agamemnon, to sacrifice his own daughter, Iphigenia, just so he can go fight a war. So after 10 long years of fighting, he comes home a hero, but that violence he left behind, well, it's been festering, and it's waiting for him.
So the play opens and the tension is just palpable. There's a watchman on the roof, and he's been waiting for years for the signal that the Trojan War is over. He sees the beacon fire light up. But instead of pure joy, there's this gut-wrenching fear. He knows there's a terrible secret rotting away inside that palace, a truth he's too scared to say out loud.
And who's the source of all that dread? None other than the queen herself, Clytemnestra, Agamemnon's wife. I mean, listen to her. She talks about her loyalty with words that are just dripping with sarcasm. She calls herself a faithful watchdog while she's secretly laying a deadly trap.
Agamemnon doesn't come home alone, though. He brings with him Cassandra, a princess of Troy. And she has this awful gift from the god Apollo. She can see the future, but she's cursed so that no one will ever believe her. And as she gets near the palace, she sees it all. The ghosts of the past, the horrors that are about to happen. She can see the family curse with her own eyes.
Now, this next part is huge, and it's all about symbolism. Clytemnestra pressures her husband into this act of supreme arrogance to walk on these sacred purple tapestries, something only a god should do. It's called hubris, and it's a major offense to the heavens. By doing it, he makes himself vulnerable. He's just sealed his own fate.
And the murder itself, it's just brutal. It's ritualistic. He's helpless in his own bathtub, tangled up in this net-like rope with no way to escape. And Clytemnestra, the wife he abandoned for a decade, becomes his executioner. And just like that, the cycle of violence turns once more.
But here's the thing. From her point of view, this isn't murder. Not at all. This is justice. Remember, he sacrificed their daughter, Iphigenia, all for his war. So now, she has sacrificed him for their daughter. As far as she's concerned, the score is settled. It's her own personal vigilante justice. But, of course, the curse isn't done yet.
So, fast forward a few years. The burden of this curse, well, it's about to land squarely on the shoulders of the next generation, Agamemnon's son, Orestes. And he's facing a choice that is truly impossible.
Orestes is completely backed into a corner. He gets a direct order from a god, from Apollo himself, who says, "You must avenge your father's murder." And if he refuses, he'll be cursed himself, struck down with horrible diseases and cast out of society.
So just look at this impossible situation, right? On one hand, you've got a god telling him, kill your father's murderer. But on the other hand, you have the most basic, fundamental law of nature. You do not kill your own mother. To obey one law is to completely shatter the other. There is no way to win here.
And he makes his choice. He follows the god's command. He kills his mother, Clytemnestra. He's done his duty to his father, but in the process, he's just committed the most horrific crime imaginable, the ultimate taboo.
And by killing his own kin, Orestes awakens something ancient and something truly terrible, the Furies. Now, they're not like Zeus or Apollo. No, these are way older, more primal forces. They are basically vengeance made real, and their entire reason for existing is to punish people who kill their own family.
And the way they're described, wow, they are horrifying. They're not just monsters, they are literally his guilt and his madness come to life. They are his mother's rage given form, these vengeful hounds from hell.
and they hunt him across the world, driving him right to the edge of insanity.
So, as he's being hunted across the entire known world, his personal hell is actually what triggers this massive, revolutionary change. This is the moment we move from pure revenge to a new idea, justice.
He finally makes it to Athens, to the temple of Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and he just collapses. He's broken. He clings to her statue and begs for an end to all of it, not just for himself, but for the whole bloody cycle. He's the living proof that the old system is broken and a new cure is needed.
And Athena sees this and realizes, you know what? The old rules can't solve this one. She can't just pick a side. So she invents something brand new, something that will change everything, a court of law. For the first time ever, she creates a jury of mortal citizens to hear the case and decide what's right.
You see, this isn't really just about Orestes anymore. This is a showdown between two completely different ideas of justice. On one side, you have the Furies, who stand for personal, absolute, never-ending revenge. On the other, you have Athena's new court, which stands for civic reason, for evidence, and for a final decision.
Okay, so the trial happens. It's a cosmic courtroom drama. Apollo defends Orestes, the Furies make their case against him, and then the human jury members, the first jury ever, they cast their votes, and it's a tie, a perfect deadlock. Humanity, on its own, can't solve this.
So it all comes down to Athena. She casts the final, tie-breaking vote, and she votes to let him go free. But listen to why. It's not because she thinks he's innocent. It's because she's establishing this incredible new idea for civilization, that when justice is at a standstill, when the arguments are equal, mercy has to win. And just like that, the cycle of revenge is shattered.
But you can't just get rid of the Furies, right? They represent something real, and they are furious. They threaten to curse Athens, to poison the land. So Athena does something absolutely brilliant. She doesn't destroy them, she transforms them. She convinces them to stay in Athens as honored guardians, to turn their power away from vengeance and toward ensuring the city's prosperity. The old is brought into the new.
So, what Aeschylus showed us was this incredibly painful but necessary evolution, from private bloodlust to public civil law. He argued that for a society to work, the community's legal process has to win out over our personal instinct for revenge. The question he leaves us with, 2,500 years later, is, what happens to us, to our society, when that primal urge for personal revenge starts to creep back in and overshadow our respect for the law?